Most people believe that weak legs are just part of getting older. That once you reach a certain age, your strength naturally fades, your balance becomes uncertain, and climbing stairs becomes something you avoid. But what if I told you that there's one simple food choice that surgeons have been quietly recommending to their patients for decades? Something so ordinary that it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. Yet most seniors have no idea it can actually help rebuild leg strength, even after 70, 80, or 90. The surprising part? This has nothing to do with expensive supplements or complicated meal plans. It's about understanding what your leg muscles truly need to stay strong, and why common advice often gets it completely wrong. Stay with me, because near the end, I'll reveal the exact daily adjustment that can make a noticeable difference in your confidence and mobility, even if you've been feeling weaker for years. Before we go any further, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from today? And if you'd feel comfortable sharing, what's your age? It's truly amazing to see seniors from all around the world learning together, and your comments help create a wonderful community here. Also, while you're typing, I'm curious, how do your legs feel right now? Do they feel strong and steady, or have you noticed they're not quite what they used to be? There's no wrong answer. We're all at different stages of our journey, and that's perfectly okay. Thank you for sharing. Seeing where everyone is from and hearing your experiences truly makes this community special. Now, let's dive into what's really happening inside your leg muscles as you age, and why the food choices you make today matter more than you might think. In the next few minutes, you'll discover one common eating mistake that quietly weakens leg muscles after age 55. And most seniors don't realize they're making it. The simple food adjustment that surgeons recommend before and after procedures to help patients maintain strength and mobility. What actually happens inside aging leg muscles, and why the usual advice about exercise alone misses half the picture. A surprising grocery list item that can support balance, confidence, and independence without any complicated cooking. And at the very end, one daily habit that combines everything together. Something many people only discover after a health scare, but you won't have to wait for that. Make sure you stay until the very end, because that final insight is often the one people wish they'd known years earlier. And if you spot something in this video that surprises you or changes how you think about your daily routine, leave a quick comment. I genuinely love reading your insights and experiences. Why leg strength changes after 60. Here's something most seniors don't realize, and doctors rarely explain clearly. Your leg muscles don't just weaken because you're using them less. There's actually a biological process happening inside your body that starts changing how your muscles work after about age 50, and it speeds up after 60. It's called muscle protein turnover. Think of it like this. Your muscles are constantly breaking down tiny amounts of tissue and rebuilding it, like a house that's always doing small repairs. When you're younger, your body is incredibly efficient at this. It rebuilds faster than it breaks down. But as you age, that rebuilding process slows down. Your body becomes less efficient at using the nutrients you eat to repair and maintain muscle tissue. Does this sound familiar? Maybe you've noticed that even though you're still walking, still moving, your legs just don't feel as solid as they once did. That's not your fault. That's biology. But here's the hopeful part. You can absolutely support that rebuilding process through simple food choices. Your body still wants to maintain strong muscles. It just needs the right materials to work with. And the foundation of those materials? It's simpler than most people think. If you've ever wondered why your legs feel weaker even though you're still active, type yes in the comments. Let's see how many of us have noticed this. But the next thing often surprises people, because it's not what you usually hear about aging. The one nutrient your leg muscles can't rebuild without. This is where most seniors get confused, and honestly, where a lot of general health advice falls short. Everyone talks about calcium for bones or fiber for digestion. But there's one nutrient that your leg muscles absolutely cannot rebuild without, and many seniors aren't getting nearly enough of it. It's protein. Now, before you think, I already know about protein, let me explain something that surgeons understand, but most people don't. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at absorbing and using protein. So even if you're eating the same amount you've always eaten, your muscles might not be getting what they need. Think about it like this. Imagine your body is a factory that builds and repairs muscle tissue. Protein is the raw material. When you're younger, that factory runs smoothly. It can take a little bit of raw material and build a lot with it. But after 60, that factory becomes less efficient. It needs more raw material to build the same amount of muscle. Most seniors need about 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal to properly support muscle maintenance. Yet many are getting only 10 to 15 grams at breakfast and lunch, saving most of their protein for dinner. Here's what that means for your legs. If you're not getting enough protein spread throughout the day, your body can't properly maintain the muscle tissue in your thighs, calves, and hips, the exact muscles you need for walking, standing up from a chair, or climbing stairs. Does this make sense so far? If you've been feeling like your legs aren't as strong, even though you haven't changed your routine, drop a comment. I'd love to hear your experience. But here's where it gets even more interesting. And this is what surgeons specifically tell their patients. The surprising food surgeons recommend. Almost no one explains this clearly, but surgeons have known this for years. Before and after surgery, especially procedures involving the legs, hips, or knees, they often tell patients to increase one specific food group, not because it's trendy or fashionable, but because it genuinely helps the body maintain and rebuild muscle tissue during recovery. And that food? It's simpler than you'd think. Eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, lean chicken, fish, beans, and lentils. These aren't exotic or expensive. They're everyday foods that many seniors already have access to, but most aren't eating them in the right amounts or at the right times. Here's the key. Your body can only process so much protein at once. If you eat a big steak at dinner but barely any protein at breakfast or lunch, you're missing the opportunity to support your muscles throughout the entire day. Think of it like watering a plant. You wouldn't dump all the water on it once a week and expect it to thrive, would you? Your muscles work the same way. They need steady, consistent nourishment. For seniors, that means including a good source of protein at every single meal, not just dinner. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I don't have a big appetite anymore, or I can't eat large meals. And that's completely okay. You don't need huge portions. You just need consistent, simple choices. Let me give you some practical examples that work for real life. Breakfast, 2 eggs, 12 to 14 grams of protein, or a small bowl of Greek yogurt with berries, 15 to 20 grams. Lunch, a small chicken breast or a cup of cottage cheese, 20 to 25 grams. Dinner, a piece of fish or a serving of beans with vegetables, 20 to 25 grams. That's it. No complicated recipes. No expensive meal plans. Just simple, steady protein throughout the day. If you've been skipping protein at breakfast or lunch, type "guilty" in the comments. You're definitely not alone. But there's one more thing about protein that most people miss entirely. Why timing matters more than you think. Here's something seniors rarely hear, but it matters after 60. When you eat protein is almost as important as how much you eat. Your muscles are most responsive to protein within about an hour or two after you've been active. Even if that activity is just walking around your home, doing light gardening, or going up and down stairs a few times. Surgeons and physical therapists call this the anabolic window. It's the time when your muscles are primed to absorb and use the nutrients you give them. So if you take a morning walk and then have toast with jam for breakfast, you've missed a golden opportunity to support your leg muscles. But if you have that walk and then follow it with eggs or yogurt, your body can actually use that protein to help maintain and repair the muscle tissue you just used. This doesn't mean you need to eat immediately. You have a window of a couple of hours. But the principle is simple. Match activity with protein intake, and your muscles get the support they need. Here's a real-life example. Let's say you take a short walk around the block in the morning. When you come back, instead of just having coffee and toast, you add a boiled egg or a small container of Greek yogurt. That's all it takes. Or maybe you do some light stretching or gentle movement in the afternoon, following that with a small snack that includes protein, like a handful of nuts, some cheese, or hummus with vegetables. Gives your body what it needs right when it can use it best. Does this sound familiar? Have you been active but not following it with the right foods? Let me know in the comments. Now, some of you might be thinking, what if I can't eat much? And that's a perfectly valid concern. What if you have a small appetite? This is where most seniors struggle, and honestly, it's one of the most common concerns I hear. As you age, your appetite naturally changes. You might not feel hungry the way you used to. Large meals might feel overwhelming or uncomfortable, and that's completely okay. You don't need to force yourself to eat huge portions. You just need to make the portions you do eat count. Think about it this way. If you can only eat a small amount at each meal, then every bite matters even more. You want those bites to include foods that actually support your strength and mobility. Here are some simple, gentle options for seniors with smaller appetites. A small smoothie with Greek yogurt, a banana, and a spoonful of nut butter. Easy to drink, easy to digest, packed with protein. A soft-boiled egg mashed onto a piece of whole grain toast. Gentle on your stomach, simple to prepare. A few spoonfuls of cottage cheese with some fruit. No cooking required. A small bowl of lentil soup. Warm, comforting, and full of plant-based protein. You don't need to eat like a bodybuilder. You just need consistent, manageable amounts throughout the day. And if chewing is difficult, there are still plenty of options. Yogurt, protein shakes, pureed soups, and soft fish are all excellent choices. If a smaller appetite has been making this harder for you, share your experience in the comments. What are some protein-rich foods you found easy to eat? But there's another piece to this puzzle that ties everything together. The role of vitamin D in leg strength. Here's something that often surprises people. Protein alone isn't enough. Your body also needs vitamin D to properly use that protein for muscle strength, especially in your legs. Vitamin D helps your muscles contract properly. It supports balance. It even plays a role in preventing falls, which is one of the biggest concerns for seniors. And here's the challenge. Most seniors aren't getting enough vitamin D, especially if they live in northern climates or spend most of their time indoors. Think about how much time you spent outside when you were younger compared to now. Maybe you don't go out as much. Maybe you're more cautious about sun exposure. And while protecting your skin is important, it also means your body isn't making as much vitamin D naturally. So what can you do? Foods rich in vitamin D include fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Fortified milk or plant-based milk alternatives. Egg yolks. Yes, eggs again. They're truly a powerhouse food for seniors. Fortified cereals. Now, I'm not making any medical claims here, but it's worth having a conversation with your doctor about whether a vitamin D supplement might make sense for you, especially if you've noticed your legs feeling weaker or if you're concerned about balance. Many seniors find that when they address both protein and vitamin D, they notice improvements in how their legs feel over time. If you've had your vitamin D levels checked, or if this is something you've been wondering about, let me know in the comments. But now, let's talk about something that ties all of this together in a way that's easy to remember. The simple daily habit that changes everything. This is the part where everything comes together. You've learned that your muscles need consistent protein throughout the day. You've learned that timing matters. You've learned about the role of vitamin D. But how do you actually make this work in real life, without feeling overwhelmed or like you need to overhaul your entire routine? Here's the simplest way to think about it. The 3-meal leg strength plan. It's not a formal diet. It's not a strict regimen. It's just a gentle framework that makes it easier to support your leg muscles every single day. Breakfast. Include one protein-rich food, eggs, yogurt, cottage cheese, or a protein smoothie. Lunch. Include one protein-rich food, chicken, fish, beans, lentils, or cheese. Dinner. Include one protein-rich food, any of the above. That's it. You don't need to count every gram. You don't need to follow complicated recipes. You just need to look at each meal and ask yourself, does this include a good source of protein? If the answer is yes, you're on the right track. And if you can add a short walk or some gentle movement between meals, even better, your muscles will thank you. Here's a real-life example of what this might look like. Morning. You wake up, have a cup of coffee or tea, and then make 2 scrambled eggs with a slice of whole grain toast. Midday. You have a small bowl of lentil soup with some crackers and a piece of fruit. Evening. You have a piece of baked salmon with steamed vegetables and a small potato. Simple, doable, sustainable. You're not trying to be perfect. You're just trying to give your body consistent support. If this feels like something you could actually do, type yes in the comments. And if you have your own simple meal ideas, please share them. Other seniors would love to hear what works for you. Now, let me address one more thing that often comes up. What if you're vegetarian or have dietary restrictions? I know not everyone eats meat or dairy, and that's absolutely fine. The principles are exactly the same. You just use different foods. If you're vegetarian or vegan, here are some excellent protein sources for leg strength. Beans and lentils, incredibly affordable, easy to cook, and full of protein. Tofu and tempeh, versatile and easy to add to soups, stir-fries, or salads. Quinoa, one of the few plant foods that's a complete protein. Nuts and seeds, almonds, walnuts, chia seeds, and hemp seeds are all great options. Nutritional yeast, adds a cheesy flavor and is packed with protein and B vitamins. Peanut butter or almond butter, simple, easy to eat, and surprisingly high in protein. You can absolutely support strong legs without eating animal products. It just requires a bit more intentionality to make sure you're getting enough protein at each meal. And if you have other dietary restrictions, maybe you're watching your sodium, or you have trouble with certain textures, there are still plenty of options. The key is finding what works for your body and your lifestyle. If you're vegetarian, vegan, or have dietary restrictions, I'd love to hear what protein-rich foods work best for you. Share in the comments. Your experience could help someone else. But now, let's get to the most important part of this entire video. The myth about aging and leg strength that almost everyone believes. Here's the myth that needs to be gently corrected because it holds so many seniors back. Weak legs are just a natural part of aging. There's nothing you can do about it. I hear this all the time, and I understand why people believe it. After all, you look around and see so many older adults struggling with mobility. It feels inevitable. But here's the truth that surgeons, physical therapists, and researchers have known for years. Weak legs are not an inevitable part of aging. They're a result of specific, changeable factors, and one of the biggest factors is simply not giving your muscles the nutrients they need to maintain themselves. Yes, your body changes as you age. Yes, muscle protein turnover slows down, but that doesn't mean you're helpless. When you consistently provide your body with adequate protein, vitamin D, and gentle movement, your muscles can absolutely maintain, and in many cases, even improve, their strength. I've seen countless stories of seniors in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s who made simple changes to their daily eating habits and noticed real differences in how their legs felt, how confident they were on stairs, and how steady they felt when walking. This isn't about reversing decades of aging overnight. It's about giving your body what it actually needs to function at its best right now. Think about it this way. If you have a garden and you stop watering it, the plants will wilt. But if you start watering it again, even after weeks of neglect, those plants can recover. Your muscles work the same way. They're not gone. They're not permanently weakened. They're just waiting for the right support. Now it makes sense, doesn't it? This is why small, consistent changes in your daily routine can feel so powerful. You're not fighting against your age. You're working with your body, giving it what it needs to stay strong. Has this changed how you think about your daily routine? Share your thoughts below. I genuinely read every comment, and your perspective matters. So far, we've covered a lot of ground together. We've talked about why leg muscles weaken as you age, and why it's not inevitable. We've talked about the one nutrient your muscles can't rebuild without, protein. We've talked about simple, everyday foods that support leg strength, eggs, yogurt, fish, beans, and more. We've talked about timing, about spreading protein throughout the day, and about how even small portions can make a big difference. And we've corrected the myth that weak legs are just part of getting older. But there's still one more insight I want to share with you. And honestly, it may surprise you more than anything else we've discussed today. It's about something that happens in your body when you combine these food choices with one other simple habit. And it's something most people don't discover until it's almost too late. Stay with me. The one daily habit that multiplies everything. Here's the final piece, and it's the one that ties everything together. Eating protein-rich foods is powerful, but pairing them with gentle, daily movement is what truly makes the difference. You see, your muscles respond to demand. When you use them, even in small ways, they send signals to your body that say, we need to stay strong. We're still being used. And when you follow that movement with protein, your body has both the signal and the building blocks it needs to maintain muscle tissue. This doesn't mean you need to start an intense exercise program. It doesn't mean you need to join a gym or do anything that feels uncomfortable or unsafe. It means simple, gentle movement. A short walk around your home or neighborhood, standing up from a chair, and sitting back down a few times. Gentle leg lifts while holding onto a counter. Walking up and down a few stairs, if you're able. Even just standing and shifting your weight from one leg to the other while you're cooking or waiting for tea. The movement doesn't have to be intense. It just needs to be consistent. And here's the beautiful part. When you pair that movement with the protein-rich foods we've talked about, you create a powerful cycle. Movement signals your muscles to stay strong. Protein gives them the materials to do it. And over time, days, weeks, months, you start to notice the difference. Maybe stairs feel a little easier. Maybe you feel more confident when you stand up. Maybe you notice better balance when you're walking. These aren't dramatic overnight changes. They're gentle, gradual improvements, the kind that add up over time and genuinely change how you feel in your daily life. I'd love to hear if you're willing to try this. Let me know in the comments. What's one small movement you could add to your day, and what's one protein-rich food you'll pair it with? Because here's the truth. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to do something consistently. And that something can be as simple as a short walk and a boiled egg. No matter your age, whether you're 55, 75, or 95, your body still has the ability to maintain and even improve its strength. You're not too old. You're not too far gone. You're not past the point where changes matter. Progress doesn't come from doing everything at once or overhauling your entire life. It comes from small, consistent steps, the kind you can actually sustain over time. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. And remember, every single day that you make even one small choice to support your body, you're moving in the right direction. Your legs have carried you through decades of life. They've taken you to places you've loved, to people you've cherished, through challenges and celebrations. And with a little bit of consistent support, they can continue to carry you with strength and confidence for many more years to come. You deserve to feel steady. You deserve to feel strong. And you absolutely have the power to support that. If you've enjoyed learning these simple, senior-friendly ways to support your leg strength, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to this channel. I share new videos like this regularly, all designed to help seniors live with more confidence, strength, and independence. And if you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It truly helps other seniors discover this information. Finally, I'd love to hear from you one more time. Which part of today's video stood out the most to you? Or better yet, what's one small change you're going to try tomorrow? Drop a comment below. I read every single one, and your experience might just inspire another senior who's watching. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.